Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you our final review of Barren Earth's new album, A Complex of Cages. So, after listening to this album for one entire week, we now have our opinions of what we feel about this album, so I'm going to give the floor to Vile. I want to know what you thought of this album after 1 week of listening.
Alright, something we talk about a lot when we review albums is how hard it is sometimes to put a score on things and review things. I'm not going to get to my score right yet, but I just want to say right off the bat that this album for me was very hard to rate for many reasons. One reason is because we talked about how, did we talk about in the first impressions how this would be good background music? I think we mentioned that.
I believe we did.
Yeah, but we both agreed that this is great background music. If you're doing something, if you're doing chores, or if you're doing art or gaming or whatever you do, and this is on in the background, it's awesome. It is great because you're not really focused on it. You're not really intending to listen to and enjoy the music, but it's in the background and you'll pick out these parts that really do stand out to you, and it's great for that. But is it something that's great for foreground music? Is it something that I would choose to put on to specifically listen to over other artists and other albums? That's something that I struggled with listening to this. I will say that our first impressions of this album wasn't very good. If you watched our video, you'll understand. But this is not the type of album that you can listen to one time and judge. And we feel like that about pretty much all the albums, which is why we do our format like this. But we started listening to it on Friday when it came out last week. Sunday evening, I started to really appreciate this album. Things started growing on me. I started appreciating the song structures and the whole way the album was laid out a lot more. The quiet and slower parts didn't seem so drawn out like they did when I first listened to it. Because when you're listening to an album for the first time, and there's like, especially a metal album, when you're listening to it and there's like a slower part, you're kind of sitting there waiting for it to pick up. You're waiting for something to happen. And when you're waiting, it seems like it's taking a lot longer than it really is. It's not the case once you get to know the song. Once you learn the songs and you know the structures and what's coming next, it doesn't feel like an eternity anymore. And I found that come Sunday night, I really started to appreciate the way this album was put together. And there's a lot of ups and downs on this album. It's quite a roller coaster because you go through a lot of just, like I said, slow, melodic stuff to fast, heavy stuff. And it's just really like this, but it's seamed together so well. It's so fluid and it's seamless, and you can put it on shuffle and get the same effect. And I think that that's a testament to great musicianship. I think that that's something that they really kind of nailed on this album. You know what, I'm gonna hand the floor to you. I'm gonna see, what your thoughts are.
All right, well, you did take one thing that I wanted to talk about, which was the fluidity of this album, how the pacing is so good, how it goes up and down, but you never really notice it. Some albums, it's very explicit on, okay, this is the crazy song, this is the chill song, this is this. But with this album, not only because of the song length, like giving them the ability to do that, but within the songs themselves, it's going up and down and around, and you never really notice it. It's just kind of there. And then when you start thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. Like it does, have a big contrast between all the songs. But after 1 week, this album definitely grew on me huge. When we first listened to it, I thought it was okay. I appreciated the musicianship, but I'm like, you know what, this is kind of like discount Opeth to me. Yeah. But after listening to it more and more, I started to really feel the moods that this music was trying to give me. And it's, this album is, I would say, very sad, kind of depressing.
It's got a somber feel to it.
Yeah, generally. And if you put this on a cloudy day and look outside, like you really start to feel the effects of the music a lot more. And I feel that, this kind of coinciding with the atmosphere, I guess, of the real world, it makes it so much stronger. And I feel, you said that you're not sure if this is really good foreground music. I actually disagree with you. I feel that this, after listening to it for 1 week, I can focus on this music and still enjoy it. Because with these songs, there is so much, I don't want to say layering, but there's so much depth.
It's depth
to every song. You'll listen to these songs and you're always going to be finding something new about it. Oh my god, I didn't notice the synth does this weird thing at that one point, or I didn't even know the acoustic guitar was even there. Like it starts to come out with you more and more and more, and I found that almost every listen to these songs I found something new that I'm like, fuck, what was that? That was cool. So it was constantly growing and it was just generally enjoyable. There were no songs that I wanted to skip. There's nothing where I said, nah, not this one.
Not even Solitude Pit, and we kind of shat on that song a lot.
We shat on that one.
Song, pretty slow.
Yeah, and
picks up a little bit towards the end, but you know what, man? I listen to that song now, and it's actually pretty enjoyable. Sometimes you gotta just enjoy the softer side of metal. Metal doesn't always have to be fast, hard, crazy, you know, aggressive. It can be soft, it can be mellow, it can be just pure melodic, and not be heavy. And that's one thing that this album definitely brings to the table.
Exactly.
The softer side of metal.
And interesting with Solitude Pit, it's different than typical long songs that I hear. Typical long songs will introduce an idea, then it'll ramp up big in the middle, and then kind of, you know, do that idea in the end. But Solitude Pit kind of just goes. If you said, I want to take a walk, go one direction and keep walking, that's what Solitude Pit feels like.
Yeah.
But it's not bad though, it's enjoyable. You listen to it and it puts you in this atmosphere and you can feel the whole trip as this song goes, and I think it's really well done. The Ruby, you know, when I think about it now, the Ruby kind of stands out among the other songs. Probably because it was the single, and I think they kind of wrote it around like, okay, we gotta write a song that'll draw people in, so I feel like the Ruby's a little bit different for that purpose.
Yeah.
So it kind of stands out, but even then it still has like the melodic elements that are in tune with the rest of the album, so it doesn't stand out too much. But thinking about that compared to all the other songs, it kind of does stand out. But it's still a great song. I still enjoy it even after a week. Like that never decayed on me. The intro to Zeal was really good.
Yep.
I still appreciate that, and you know, we kind of ragged on it for being like, oh, this song has too long of an intro. The more you listen to it and the more you get used to it and the more you understand the song, the less kind of tedious it sounds. Like, it's a 3-minute intro, it does not feel like 3 minutes.
No.
It feels like a quick thing, a nice pretty thing, and then the song starts.
Yeah.
And even with the false endings, you know, now that we know that's part of the song, it doesn't really bother us anymore.
Like I said, you just gotta learn the song structure and then it won't bother you anymore. But hearing it for the first time, you're kind of thrown off by the kind of bizarre nature of the album. Just the way it's structured.
Anyway, I guess we can get the ratings. So, what do you give this album?
You know what? I see this album somewhat like it reminds me of like a treasure map. You look at a treasure map. No, seriously, you look at a treasure map and it takes you on a journey, right?
Yeah.
It's up and down, and you're finding things along the way. You're gonna hear a lot of things on this album. You're gonna hear flute. You're gonna hear bongos. You're gonna hear rattles. You're gonna hear
salsa stuff.
You're gonna hear different kind of vocal stylings. There's a bit of chanting with like a female vocal. A lot of stuff. You're gonna hear a lot of great musicianship. The drummer's amazing on this album. Never does the same thing twice. You'll hear these like winding, like melodic, almost mesmerizing guitar riffs. There's just so much stuff. And then when it all wraps up, you're gonna realize the gold you've been looking for at the end of this treasure map is the album itself. This album is fucking gold. And I will say that. I really enjoyed this album. It took me by surprise. And it's a testament that you cannot just listen to an album once and make an opinion off it. You must give things chances. I will also throw in there before I give my score that I think this album is perfect for stoners. I'm looking at you guys, the stoner crowd. I know a lot of you guys smoke weed. This album is for you guys. You guys can get blazed up, put this album on, and next thing you know, you're gonna be like, what is this shit? You know, you might not like it at first. You might be like, oh, this is trash, I'm turning it off. Don't turn it off. Just let it play. Let it play while you're doing whatever. Next thing you know, you're gonna be banging your head. You're gonna be looking at what song this is. Guarantee it. Check it out. I give this album a toe tag.
All right, so you know, you took a lot of the words right out of my mouth with that description. Interesting that you compare it to a treasure map, but that was a good analogy. But I feel like this album will not grow old, and I completely 100% agree with you. You can't put this album on once and then send it off. You can't do that, because we listened to it once and we weren't too happy with it, and now, you know, he just gave it a toe tag, and I'm loving it too. Never getting old on me. I'm always finding something new, finding more pieces of gold within this album. This album gets my toe tag, meaning this album gets 2 toe tags and is put on our list of 2 toe tag albums. And, you know, well deserved by Barren Earth. This album is incredible. It is a perfect example of why we do our first impressions and then a review 1 week later. Because if, you know, our review was last week, we probably would have given this album a lot lower score than we did.
Scores, yeah.
Exactly. So the fact that this album can grow on us that much in 1 week proves that you can't listen to it once.
Right, but we want to know what you guys think. So if you guys have been listening to this album, if you guys checked it out, or even if you haven't yet, make sure you do, because it's worth it, and it's worth it to give it a chance. But yeah, let us know in the comments below what you do think of it, and that's pretty much it for this album review. So be sure to like the video, subscribe if you guys are new to this channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
Later.